Coming up tonight on CTV News, see what homeless shelter in Fort Collins is helping hundreds of people every week. Plus, get an inside look at what lucky Eagle Scout was chosen to go to Washington, D.C., and see why the fish at City Park are dying. All this and more tonight on CTV News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carson Bush-Jost.
And I'm Caitlin Conley. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Malaysia Airline Flight 370 vanished from radar screens early Saturday with 239 people on board shortly after takeoff from Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia's military says it's investigating reports that missing Boeing 777 jetliner headed to Beijing changed its course and made it to the Malacca Strait, hundreds of miles away from the last location reported by civilian authorities. A Malaysian military official said after the plane was tracked changing courses, it also took a lower altitude. One theory is the plane crashed into the ocean. There will likely still be debris floating in the ocean, but may be widely spread out, and some debris may have already sunk. The United States has sent 2 Navy ships, one with equipped helicopters and the other with sensors that can detect small debris in the water. Earlier today, Interpol said that the 2 passengers who used stolen passports to board the Malaysia airline flight were Iranians seeking asylum in Europe. Both men had no criminal records. The investigation is ongoing to find the vanishing plane, with speculation ranging from pilot error to plane malfunction to a hijacking and act of terrorism.
A Fort Collins man has died after an accident last week when his van crashed into a garbage truck. According to police, Charles Hallenbeck slammed into the back of a garbage truck that was waiting to turn left into the dump. Hallenbeck's death marks the 3rd death on Larimer County roads in 2014. Most have not heard of the local homeless service here in Fort Collins. The Murphy Center for Hope has been providing service to thousands in need since its opening a few years ago. On a small road off College in North Fort Collins, a big thing is happening. The Murphy Center for Hope, located at 242 Conifer Street, serves people who are homeless or near homeless. The building provides many things for people who are in great need. Barbara Jensen, a director at the Murphy Center, says there are many services they provide.
Rental assistance and housing counseling. There's some housing search assistance available. And also, we have some basic just kind of survival services. So if people need to take a shower, people need somewhere to do their laundry, people need computer and phone access, we've got that here.
Other features of the Murphy Center include art classes, where people can paint and craft at will, a children's playground and room, and a work and game area. The building was opened 5 years ago, and ever since the opening, it's kept growing and growing.
It was designed to serve 30 to 40 people a day. That was what they were estimating. And in fact, we're at 4 times that number. So we see on average 160 people a day. It comes out to about 800 people a week.
And if you might need service from the Murphy Center, Barbara says to just walk right in.
We're not a shelter, we're a resource referral agency. So we're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. The best way to get to come in for services is to walk in. We're a walk-in center.
The Murphy Center is available to many who apply. All that's needed is an interview with one of the center's representatives so they can understand the services you need.
A Fort Collins 8th grader came in second on Saturday at the 74th Annual Colorado State Spelling Bee. 13-year-old Roshini Narayan beat out 245 kids in 10 hours of competing to make it to the spell out, where she narrowly missed a championship finish. Speaking of Fort Collins students, sophomore Nick Dan Miller with the Boy Scouts of America was able to visit Washington, D.C. this past February to present the organization's annual report to the nation's top U.S. officials.
I spent 7 days in Washington, D.C., and from the beginning to the end, I was there to help deliver the report to the nation on behalf of the 3.5 million youth and adult volunteer members of the Boy Scouts of America. So it was basically an opportunity to meet with different leaders of Congress as well as dignitaries serve all across the city, and really just sort of help explain to them what we've accomplished in 2013.
Nick received his Eagle Scout badge back in 2010 and was one of 9 scouts selected to represent the Boy Scouts of America on his high-profile trip. While in D.C., Dan Miller was able to visit the White House, Pentagon, and many other important buildings in D.C.
The way I was selected to be a part of the Report to the Nation delegation was I was elected back in December the 2014 National Chief of the Order of the Arrow, and the Order of the Arrow is the National Honor Society of the Boy Scouts of America.
Congratulations, Nick, on your accomplishments of being one of 9 selected for the DC trip.
We are now joined by our weather anchor, Kelsey McAllister. Kelsey, what is with this weather?
I know, Carson, we're having some really odd temperatures, but it's really typical for this time of year. We always see snow and then 70s, but coming up after the break, I will have your weekly forecast.
Plus, after the break, see why the fish at Sheldon Lake are dying.
And CTV takes a look at the flea market. Don't go away.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
TV News, I'm Kelsey McAllister with your Tuesday weather update. Well, we've seen some pretty crazy weather over the past couple of days. Yesterday we were in the 70s and today we saw some snow flurries. If we take a look outside, currently we're sitting right at about 28 degrees. It does feel about 18 due to that wind out of the northwest at 13 miles per hour, so there are some gusty winds right now. Now, as we take a look at tonight's lows, we're going to see some chilly temperatures. But first, let's take a look at today's highs. 33 in Fort Collins, 46 in Denver, and 47 in Colorado Springs, 29 in Vail, and 34 in Gunnison. Looking at the eastern plains, you can see the northern portion was relatively chilly, but Lamar was sitting close to 60 degrees, so they did not get hit by this cold front that really hovered right over this northern portion of the state. As we look at tonight's lows, we are going to chill down quite a bit. We're going to see temperatures in the teens in Fort Collins, Denver, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo. Alamosa will be sitting at 14.7 in Gunnison and in Vail as well. The eastern plains will see temperatures in those teens and 20s. Lamar's is going to cool down quite a bit. If we take a look at tomorrow's temperatures, though, it's going to be really pretty nice for tomorrow. 51 here in Fort Collins as well as in Denver, 44 in Colorado Springs, and 48 degrees in Pueblo. Vail and Gunnison, you'll both be hovering in those mid-30s, and the eastern plains will be, again, relatively mild. Lamar will be a little bit cooler than what you saw today. Now, the 7-day forecast is really nice. I'm very pleased with what we're going to have for this spring break. 51 tomorrow, 58 by Thursday, 57 Friday. On Saturday, I do have about a 10% chance of precipitation. If anything happens, it's going to be rainfall. Nothing will really accumulate, maybe a couple snow flurries during the night, but overall, the rest of the weekend is going to be relatively quiet and pretty calm. Carson, we'll be back in those mid-60s by Monday and Tuesday, so I'm really excited about this. It's a great way to kick off spring, which, by the way, starts on March 20th, so definitely an exciting forecast for us. Carson?
Thanks, Kelsey. With those warm temperatures we've been experiencing lately, people have been getting outside and enjoying the warm weather. If you've been in City Park lately, you may have noticed an abundance of dead fish floating around in Sheldon Lake, but there's no need to worry. This is a normal occurrence due to the cold weather. Rick Jordan, the crew chief of the Fort Collins Parks Division, said, quote, "As a precaution, the water was tested and it's fine. We usually let nature take its course in these situations. We are monitoring the situation daily. If the numbers don't start dropping off soon, there may be a need to remove some of the fish for aesthetic reasons."
While the weather is still warming up, students choose to walk through the LSC in order to stay warm as long as possible, and the businesses at the flea market are starting to recognize this trend. One company, Green X, has been marketing to CSU students to join their company for the summer, but they say that talking to students is sometimes difficult.
It's tough out, recruiting out here. People don't want to talk. People are on their way to class. You just gotta chase them down. I followed a guy into the coffee shop the other day. I saw Green X in the student center. I was looking for an engineering internship, but couldn't swing that since I was just a sophomore. And then just gave Green X a shot and then came out and had an awesome experience.
Make sure to be friendly to those you meet at the flea market, and remember, these are students just like us.
Dr. Robert Callan has taught large animal veterinary medicine at Colorado State University for the last 20 years. Callan's dedication is now paying off, for he has earned a spot among the 15 top large animal vet professors recognized by vet tech colleges online. Callan is also a professor at the CSU Department of Clinical Sciences and is among the faculty and staff who have elevated CSU's professional veterinary medicine program to the number 3 vet school in the nation based on U.S. News and World Report rankings.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by our sports anchor for the latest in how the Lady Rams did in their game earlier today against Utah State.
Along with the women's team, we also see how the men's basketball team is doing. Don't go away.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now joined by Brett Kennedy, who's filling in for Elizabeth Prosty tonight.
Thanks so much for having me on the show.
I don't know about you, Brett, but I am so proud of the women's team for their win over Utah State today.
I am too, Carson. What a confidence boost for this team. The CSU Rams survived a scare in the Mountain West tournament, beating the Utah State Aggies 72-67. Utah State led most of the way, and CSU was down by 3 with 1:14 left to play when senior Sam Martin got a 3-point play to tie it, and Elin Gustafsson put the Rams in the lead for good with a 3-point play of her own. CSU had 4 players finish in double figures, led by Grit Ryder, who scored 23 points and 5 steals as the Rams advanced to the semifinals for the first time since 2008. The Rams will play the winner of Wyoming and Boise State on Friday. As for the men's basketball team, CSU is looking for revenge as they also square off against Utah State tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. CSU lost both matchups between the two teams this season. The winner of that game will play San Diego State on Thursday. The team will be without senior starter Jerson Santo, however, for the rest of the year after he broke his hand after Saturday's loss to Wyoming. This means players like J.J. Avila and Daniel Bejarano need to step up and fill in for Santo's loss. When former CSU assistant volleyball coach Matthew Botsford accepted a head coaching job at Florida Gulf Coast, Tom Hilbert had some big shoes to fill after he addressed that problem on Tuesday by signing Chuck Crawford to become the newest CSU assistant coach. Crawford spent last year as an assistant for Georgia Tech and is a welcomed addition to the CSU Rams. Guys, what do you think about this women's basketball team? You know, last year they were 11-19. This year they're 23-6. They got a win in the Mountain West tournament. They're off to a great start, and I'd say it's a pretty good year to be a CSU Ram.
I mean, yeah, they're really impressing me this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I mean, a huge turnaround from last season. 11-19 to now they're the number 1 seed in the Mountain West tournament. I really think like they can win this all and then do a lot of damage in the big dance coming up. I
mean, and then they have Ellen Nystrom and Sam Martin and Grit Ryder and those guys like that. They've really stepped up and delivered the team, and they've all acted really well as a group.
They have. I'm very impressed by them so far.
They've done really good, and I mean, hopefully they can win the Mountain West tournament. They have a really good shot. So.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for watching and for all your CTV videos, whether it be our CTV Sports, CTV News, CTV Talks, or Friday Night Rambles. Be sure and watch them on thecollegian.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at CollegianC or find us on Facebook by searching Collegian Central.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and good luck on midterms this week. Coming up tonight on CTV News. See what homeless shelter in Fort Collins is helping hundreds of people every week. Plus, get an inside look at what lucky Eagle Scout was chosen to go to Washington, D.C., and see why the fish at City Park are dying. All this and more tonight on CTV News.
Good evening, everyone.